So, in electronic devices, the important portion is your p-n junction. When p type and n type materials are fused together, the interface will be having some importance, and that we call it p-n junction. And you know what is p-n junction diode or junction diode or semiconductor diode. So, there you get one p type, one n type and one junction, but today we should discuss about the device having two p-n junctions, and this type of device, this device is known as your transistor or bipolar junction transistor. Why bipolar? Because two type of charge carriers are dealt in. What are those carriers? One is your electron, one is your hole. The electron, you know, the electrons they combine each other with a bond, but when for some reason maybe heat, maybe other application, when the electron is taken out of the bond, the covalent bond, the space where the electron was there, this space now creates a vacancy. It needs the same negative charge, that means it is considered to be positive. This space, the vacancy is known considered to be positive, and it is called a hole. So, electron hole pair generation etcetera we know, and now we should be going to a new topic, that is a transistor, in which we get two p-n junctions. The diode was having one p-n junction, now you have to dealing in two p-n junctions, that is your transistor. So, transistor means we will discuss later in detail. So, it has two p-n junctions, two p-n junctions. This is one characteristics. Another is that it deals with two charge carriers, two type of charge carriers, that is your electron and that is your hole. And the construction wise, if you check, if an n type semiconductor is sandwiched by p type semiconductors, then it is a transistor, or a p type semiconductor is sandwiched by two n type semiconductors, then it is also a transistor. Sandwich, you know, sandwich, your priyo khadya sandwich, but here sandwich means it is in between two p type semiconductors, it is in between two n type semiconductors, and these two are the transistors. Obviously, it is called PNP transistor, it is called NPN transistor. So, transistor is an electronic device which consists of two p-n junctions, and it is formed by sandwiching either p type semiconductor between a pair of n type semiconductors, or it is formed by sandwiching a n type and n type semiconductor between a pair of p type semiconductors. So, this is what you see, and we have the symbol, just like diode has a symbol, we have the symbol for the transistor. What are those? These are the symbols. this is NPN transistor, this is PNP transistor. For NPN transistor, this is the symbol. This is symbol for PNP transistor. Actually, this one, this portion is called emitter. This portion is called base. This portion is called collector. E, B, C. Similarly, in PNP, this is your emitter, this is your base, and this is your collector. So, how does the symbol represent all these three sections? This is your base, this is your collector, this is your emitter. Similarly, this is your collector, this is your base, this is your emitter. So, what about you see what is the difference, basic difference between two symbols? That is nothing but the arrowhead. The arrowhead just represents whether it is PNP or NPN. You see here the arrowhead downward, here the arrowhead upward. There is a logic behind putting this arrowhead. You know this is your NPN, means it is N type semiconductor, P type semiconductor, N type semiconductor. And you know the current flows from P to N, higher potential to lower potential from P to N. So, the direction of current represents this arrow mark. Similarly, the direction of current is represented by this arrow mark. Similarly, you know this is your P, this is your N, this is your P. So, what will be the direction of the current? This one, positive to negative, or P type to negative type, N type. So, it is your the representation of the arrow mark for the current flow. So, this way the arrowhead is assigned to distinguish between NPN and PNP transistors. And you will be astonished that the definition of the transistor is embedded within the word itself. You get transistor. Knowingly, I have a gap here. So, you write S transfer of resistor. You see, transfer of resistor, these letters are omitted and you get transistor. So, you will come later while explaining you transistor action. At that time, this sentence or this phrase will be having some importance. So, now the figure will distinguish between the NPN and PNP transistors. Actually, physically you will see the transistor to be like this. Three legs will be there, one will represent collector, one will represent emitter, one will represent base, and a cap will be there. So, cap 3 legs, this will be physical show of the transistor. When there is a transistor, we should utilize them to get something more. So, for that we should have a device using the transistor, and you know transistor has 3 ports, one is base port, one is collector port, one is emitter port. But for a device usually we need 2 input and 2 output port, PORT port, but here 3 ports. So, we are in a situation to compromise. What is that compromising? That one port has to be taken common. That means, if you take emitter as the common port, then your collector collector and emitter, one emitter base another. So, this is your input section, this is your output section. This is how you get a device. So, my aim is to explain you that because the transistor has 3 ports. So, the transistor should be such that NPN transistor. So, it should be such that the emitter is common, that means base and emitter, that will be your connection where emitter is a common port. The collector and emitter will be taken as the output and base emitter taken as input. So, emitter is common, we call it common emitter mode. Similarly, you can take base as the common, emitter base is the input and collector base is the output, where base is common. So, this type of transistor is called common base mode connection, and the left one is collector. So, there will be provision for common collector transistor. Simple, here is your base, here is your collector, here is your emitter. Always I am using common emitter mode, because in our usual practice we usually use the common emitter mode of transition. So, it is your collector, emitter, base. You see, this is your input and this is your output. So, it is now common collector mode. So, you come across 3 types of connections, 3 type of modes, and for all mode you need the basic principle. What is that? The basic principle is that your input should be forward biased and your output should be reverse biased. This is the basic principle behind transistor operation or transistor action. Because you see, you get 2 junctions, one is base collector, one junction, emitter collector, another. So, 2 junctions. Here you get base emitter, one junction, collector emitter, another junction. Here you get emitter base, one junction, collector base, another junction. So, in all connections, in all mode, you have 2 junctions, one junction is forward biased, the other junction is reverse biased. Then only you can get the transistor operation, or you can have the transistor action of the transistor. And another important thing is that you have to have your base very, very thin. So, you come to this picture. So, it is suppose common, this is emitter, this is base, this is collector, ports. The emitter normal size, the base is very thin in comparison to emitter and collector's volume, and collector is more volume. It is because the emitter will send the charge carriers, whatever it may be hole, it may be electron, according to your NPN or PNP type. If it is NPN type, it will send electrons If it is a PNP type, it will send holes. The emitter is the source, it will send the charge carrier. That is why the name emitter, it emits. Base means it will just mediate between two charge carriers. Between input and output, it will be a mediator, and the output will be collector section. In collector section, when the current is flowing, the current may heat up the collector section. Therefore, the heat should be radiated, otherwise the resistance or other parameters of the collector section may be changed, altered. Therefore, the collector section is made bigger, so larger, so that it will have more area, more surface area. And you know, when the more surface area is there, the heat can be radiated, heat can be taken away easily. Therefore, the collector will safely work. So, the theme is that the emitter will send the charge carrier, base will be the mediator, and C will collect the charge carriers. That way, the input current will be the output current. So, the emitter will be the source of charge carriers, and the name is BJT. I was talking of BJT means bipolar, electron and hole, two poles, junction. You see, here is one junction, here is one junction, two p-n junctions, and transistor. Transistor means it will transfer the current from a low resistive path to high resistive path. What I had written, transfer of resistor, transfer of resistor I was writing some while before. That means, it can transfer the same current, nearly the same current from input to output, and the input will be very low resistance, output will be very high resistance. That is the theme of transistor action, what we call transistor operation, that is the theme. So, you will go to the topic transistor action. So, in transistor action, what is happened? The theme is that nearly the same current is transferred from low resistive path to high resistive path, from input to output. Why the input is low resistive path and output is high resistive path? This is the reason. Now, you think of a transistor, it is NPN transistor. I have told you that the input should be forward biased and output should be reverse biased. That was my condition for transistor action, and base should be very thin. Means, if there are n type, means 100 electrons, say, for assumption, for simplicity you say 100 electrons, then, but actually it is not 100 electrons, it is actually for conductor it is 10 to the power 28 electrons per meter cube. It will be around 10 to the power 22, 24 electrons per meter cube. So, it is 100 electrons, say. Here it is one hole, because it is p type, one hole free charge carrier. You neglect this one, do not worry about this one. So, what happens? The input should be forward biased, that was the condition. The output should be reverse biased, that was the condition, and base is thin, that was the condition. Now, the condition is fulfilled. When I am taking 100 electron concentration in n type, I am taking one hole, very thin, lightly doped. So, this is forward biased. It is n type. N type means the battery should be connected such that the negative terminal of the battery should be connected to N and positive terminal to P. Now, it is forward biased. Similarly, the N type, that should be connected to positive terminal, so that it will be reverse biased. and this battery has a particular name. This is called, because it is connecting, suppose it is emitter, it is base, it is collector. So, this battery is the biasing battery, it is biasing the emitter, and hence it is called VEE, DC battery, VEE, capital letters. Similarly, it is biasing the collector end, so it is VCC, capital. So, these are two batteries, it is forward bias, it is reverse bias. Now, if it is forward biased, then the depletion region will be omitted, will be 0, because it is forward bias. Suppose it is germanium diode, germanium junction, then it will be 0.3 volt. Then after the charge carrier can cross the junction. So, the 100 electrons cross the junction, now you get 100 electrons here in the base circuit due to forward bias. You know, when the electrons are there, when the hole is there, they will recombine. So, one hole will recombine with one electron. Recombination means the electron was taken from the covalent bond to give you the a hole. Now, what happens actually? The hole and electron combination means, suppose this was the electron and this was the hole. Now, you get the electron. So, actually recombination means the electron will go and sit at the hole. That means the electron is restored in the bond. Now, they will destroy the whole electron pair, and now I get 1 H plus 1 E. They are destroyed. Now, rest electron will be, for example, there will be 99 electrons there. Now, for the 99 electrons, it is reverse bias, I know, but here is positive end, it is negative. You see this battery? So, do you think the 99 electron will be opposed by the reverse bias? No. Interestingly, we have done it, interestingly the reverse bias, the output bias. Output section is knowingly done to be reverse bias, so that the opposite charge carriers, when reach at the base, they will be attracted by the positive end, repelled by the negative end, then they can easily flow to the corrector circuit. So, what is the result? 100 electrons start from emitter circuit, 1 electron is just lost, you say lost, and 99 electrons can reach the collector circuit. If suppose 100 electron is your 1 amp or 100 ampere, suppose, then 100 ampere is coming, you are getting 99 ampere. You see, the resistance of forward bias, if it is 1 ohm, the resistance of reverse bias is 1 lakh ohm, 40,000 ohm. You see, but current is nearly the same. If it is very small, then it will be 99.99 ampere. For example, so you see the same current is reaching the high resistive path from the low resistive path. That is what transistor action is. Transistor action is now in a situation, the action put us in a situation to transfer nearly the same current from input to output circuit, from low resistive path to high resistive path. That is what transfer of resistor. And what happens then? What is the utility of this? Suppose the great thing is that total current sent by emitter is IE, the total current utilized in base IB, total current reaching the collector C. So, this is your great equation of electronics. IE is always equal to IC plus IB. Suppose there is a change of 1 volt here due to current 100 ampere, suppose, but due to current 1 ampere. but the resistance is very low. The same voltage change will be appear as 10,000 or 1 lakh volt here theoretically. That is what the amplification is. The transistor action enables us to get the high voltage at the output. Due to transistor action it is possible, and the equation is I E equal to I B plus I C. That is very important equation for us. In our mic, what happens? In our sound system, a signal is taken here. A signal is taken here from microphone. We speak here. Our sound energy produces current. This current is added with this emitter current, and this small current will be transferred to the output circuit. You see, suppose it is 0.1 ampere current. It is transferred to the output circuit. 0.1 ampere current, suppose it was 10 ohm, the resistance. What is the volt? 1 volt. Now it is 1 lakh ohm. So, you now multiply, the same current is reaching your output, you multiply 0.1 ampere, it will be 10,000 volt. So, this is how we get your DJ. Your DJ applies this action, otherwise you cannot enjoy the DJ sound. This is of course, a lot of transistors are added one after another in series cascaded. Anyway, the input resistance is small. So, the current will be giving you small volt, 1 volt. The same current when it flows in a reverse bias or high resistive path, it will give you in 1000 order, voltage in 1000 order. So, your sound will be very loud. So, we have shown you the input current, output current and different modes of the transistor circuits. So, now we should know how much it is amplifying. Current amplification factor. The output current and the input current, the ratio is known as current amplification factor. Suppose it is common base. Base, emitter, collector, it is common base. Then your input output are given this way. So, the input current is your I E, the output current is your I C. This is the current and it is your I B, base current is your I B, and you know I E equal to I B plus I C. So, this I C by I E is your current amplification factor for common base. So, for common base, the change in I C current by the change in I E current is your current amplification factor, and that is known as alpha. Similarly, in current common emitter, this is your change in collector current by change in base current. It is your beta, and common collector change in emitter current by the change in base current, it will be your gamma. So, there are 3 amplification factors. One is alpha for common base, one is the other is beta for common emitter, the third one is gamma for common collector. And we have a beautiful relation, or you say beautiful relations among alpha, beta and gamma. Very easily you can derive the relations. You remember, very simple, but the great formula. What is that? That is I E equal to I B plus I C. This is your great relation. Now you find alpha, beta, gamma relation from this simple relation. How? First you divide by I E throughout. Divide by I E throughout. Then what it becomes? Then it is I E by I E equal to I B by I E equal plus I C by I E. Now you divide throughout I E. So now see, I E by I E equal to 1, I B by I E, I B by I E, I B by I E, I B by I B 1 by gamma. Gamma you should write this way, one by gamma, and I C by I E, you see I C by I E alpha. You get the relation between alpha and gamma. So you take here, you kept to left side. So 1 minus alpha equal to 1 by gamma, or gamma equal to 1 by 1 minus alpha. So this is one relation. Another relation you see, just you just divide it by I E, then I B. You just divide it I B. I E by I B equal to I B by I B. First you write I E equal to I B equal plus I C. Then you divide I B, I B, I B. What you get? I E by I B, I E by I B, gamma. I E by I B, gamma. I B by I B, 1. I C by I B, I C by I B, beta. You see? So when it is I B is divided, so you get gamma equal to 1 plus beta, another relation. Third one, what is remaining? Now I E divided, I B divided, now the last one is I C. You now divide I C. So you first write I E equal to I B plus I C, divide by I C. What you get? I E by I C, I E by I C, the 1 by alpha equal to I B by I C, I B by I C 1 by beta, I C by I C 1. So 1 by alpha equal to 1 plus 1 by beta. Now what happens? Then you just 1 by equal to 1 by beta, 1 by alpha minus 1 equal to 1 by beta, or 1 minus alpha by alpha equal to 1 by beta, or beta equal to alpha by 1 minus alpha. So these are the three relations that can be easily obtained using this simple way. So if problem asked that your alpha is given, beta you calculate, then you use this relation. Problem asks beta is given, you calculate gamma, this relation. Problem asks gamma is given, you find alpha, this one is given. So you can use any relation, simple relations to calculate alpha, beta, gamma if some other amplification factors are given. Usually the value I am taking, suppose alpha, beta, gamma. You see IC is suppose 99, IE is 100, IC is 99, IB is 1, IE is 100, IB is 1. So, this way the values are not exactly the same, but just around this value. So, 0.99, it will be 0.99, it will be 99, it will be 100, this way. You will get the forms, the values like this way. So, how they are connected? The common emitter, common base, common collector, how actually they were connected? I should go for a common base connection, in which the current amplification factor is alpha. I should go with common base mode. How it is connected? You know, the common base mode means the base will be common, the emitter will be left side, input side, and the collector will be at the output side. You take PNP. Okay. If it is PNP, then you draw the arrow this way. It is your PNP transistor, base is common, and connection has to be done. I know it should be forward biased, and I know it should be reverse biased. That means, this should be, that is P N P, but actually it is emitter, base, collector. So, P means this will be positive and to be forward bias, and this will be VEE. Similarly, reverse bias means, it is P means that will be negative, and high tension is given, means more high battery is given, large battery is given, here small battery is given. So, this is the tentative circuit diagram, but I should have an option to change the potential here. To change the potential here, it is your VCC, to change the potential here. So, how can it can be done? It is done by the use of rheostat. What happens actually? This voltage is distributed along the resistance wire of the rheostat. So, you just use the rheostat. This is your resistance wire of the rheostat. This is your battery. It was P positive. So, P, it is VEE. Similarly, the other side, so the other side, it will be resistance wire of the rheostat, and the battery will be this one, it is your VCC. So, I have just I have just modified the battery connection. This is your rheostat. If rheostat pointer, or you can jockey, when the rheostat jockey or pointer is moving, the voltage across this one is changing. It is moving. It is moving means the voltage across this junction is changing. This is your junction VEB. It is called VEB. This is called VCB. Collector base junction. This is your emitter base junction. Base is common. So, this rheostat movement will change the voltage across the junction. If the voltage across the junction is changing, the current will be changing, that we should go after some while. Similarly, if the voltage here is changing by the rheostat provision, the current will be changing. So, this is how we get the circuit. And to measure the current, how much current is moving, how much current is flowing, suppose IE current is flowing, here IB current is flowing, here IC current is flowing. So, how they are flowing? So, how the currents are flowing, that is given by the voltage across the junction. So, now change your rheostat position, the voltage will be different, change your rheostat position, this voltage will be different. So, accordingly the current will be different. So, till now we have understood how the reverse bias and forward bias is taking place in common base mode. Now, we should know how the current and voltage are changing in input circuit and output circuit. So, in input section, as you see, there is emitter current, in output section there is collector current, but common current is I B. We do not bother with I B, we are concerned about the emitter current and collector current, they are very important for us. So, here the input characteristics means the input current, input voltage variation with respect to a parameter of the output circuit. Here input characteristics will be about, it is your input current, it is your input voltage. So, this will be V E B and this will be V I E, constant V C B. V C B will be the parameter, it will be kept constant, where I E and V C E B will be changing. The graph is that because this is a junction P N junction. So, the graph will be just like the P N junction graph. Suppose it is for a V C B 1 equal to constant. Another graph, if the V C B 2, then there will be another graph with V C B 2. Similarly, we get different graphs for lines. This will be just P N junction forward bias lines, and this is milliampere form, this is volt unit. But if the V C B is increased, what happens? V C B is increased means the base and collector, this is your base collector junction, this junction will be more and more reverse biased. When V C B, it is your V C B, negative V C B means reverse bias, it will be more and more reverse bias. So, the depletion layer width will be more in this junction. So, what happens? The base width will be decreased. So, width of base decreases, that is called base width modulation. So, it will decrease, but the number of holes, because it is a transistor. So, the number of holes here will be in less space. So, the hole concentration gradient will be more, because the space is less now. If the hole concentration gradient will be more, then the emitter current will be more. So, what is that implication? When V C B is increasing, your I E is increasing, that is reflected in this graph. How? You just draw a line, your V C B this much, it is low V C B, this is high V C B. You see, for low V C B it is your I 1, For high VCB, it is your IE2. Certainly, when VCB2 is greater than VCB1, your IE2 greater than IE1. So, in this way the input characteristics is understood. Now, you should go to your output characteristics. The output characteristics is given by current IC and voltage VCB, and along with those parameters, along with those variables, we should have a parameter that should be kept from the input side, from input section. What is that parameter? That is IE. So, if you draw the characteristics curve for output, then this will be having this form. What is that? It should be your what? VCB, because it is your output voltage. It should be your IC, and this is milliampere, and this is your voltage, volt. But the thing is that the curve will be different in comparison to the input curve. Suppose, and IE should be your parameter, and let IE equal to 0 ampere, 0. Then what will happen? The graph will be like this, IE 0. Here you can write IE 0. Then what is that? What is that if IE is 0? You know IE is nearly equal to IC. A very small current is lost at base. IB is very small, comparably 0. So, IC is equal to IE, but IE is 0. Then how IC is coming? How you got that IC? You just remember the leakage current. For reverse bias, there is a leakage current due to the minority charge carriers. In reverse bias, there will be current flowing even no IE is there, no input emitter current is there. There will be some current, very feeble current, there will be some current due to the minority charge carriers, and that is called reverse saturation current. So, this current is your current reverse saturation current. Of course, that is very small, that will be microampere or nanoampere form, and microampere for germanium. If it is silicon, that will be nanoampere, 10 to the power minus 9, it is 10 to the power minus 6. So, this is the leakage current. Then the action starts, the amplifier action starts. How? It is 0. Then if you increase the IE, obviously the IC will increase, because IE and IC, they are closely related. So, the graph will be this way. Suppose IE equal to 10 milliampere. Then again the IE will be suppose 20 milliampere. In this way, the graph will go on. In this way, the characteristic graph will be there. So, what is the conclusion then? Very interesting conclusion. This is your leakage current, I reverse saturation current in the order of microampere and nanoampere. What happens here? You see the VC is changing. When you move from left to right, VC is increasing. But what about your IC? Here VC is this much, IC is this one. Here VC is increasing, but IC is same. Here VC is increasing, but IC is same. This is IC. This is IC. So, IC constant, or independent with respect to VCE. That means VCB, the output. So, output is VCB. So, with VCB, the current is not changing with VCB. You increase VCB, but IC is not changing, but remaining constant. That is the characteristics of this output, important characteristics of the output. So, VCE, VCB is changing, but your collector current is not changing. How it is changing? It is changing according to IE. You say your IC is this much when IE is 10, IC increases when IE increases, IC increases where IE increases. So, this characteristics is your output characteristics. Another interesting fact, we usually operate the transistor or transistor amplifier in this section. In this section, we usually operate this transistor, and this section, this region is known as active region, in which this is actually normal operation. This is normal. Normally, we use the active region, in which, as we have promised, that input should be forward bias, output should be reverse bias. Input forward biased and output reverse bias. This is your active region, and this region is known as saturation region, and this region where below the I equal to 0 line, this region is known as cutoff region. So, in which region we work? We usually work in active region, in which the IE and IC, they matter, because this one, you see, this IE and IC, they matter. This is actually the real characteristic curve, output characteristic curve with which we work. And you see the in cutoff region, the cutoff region is below this line, I equal to 0 line. The saturation region beyond, to the left of the IC axis. So, these two regions we are not taking to our consideration. Usually, we work with this active region. So, active region is your normal region, in which it is input forward bias, output reverse bias, that is our normal practice, and this is your active region. So, friends, I think we have educated, or I have educated a little bit about the transistor, its characteristics, etc. So, thank you for being with us. Thank you, students.